I am Qierre McGlory. I am the team leader at Chino Hills. I have the honor and the privilege of being our agents. And today I am super excited that you guys can hear from 4 of our top agents today as they share their tactics and skills of how you can explode your business in 2023. So without further ado, I'm going to go down the road. I'm going to have you guys introduce yourselves, tell how long you've been in the business, and also share your top 3 strategies of your business. So we'll start with you, Tina.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Tina Wayne, and I have been here since October 2018 as a new agent. So this year, October will be my 5th year here. And I'm very honored and very, very humbled to be here today. So
Oh yes, and your top 3 sources for your business.
my top 3 sources. Okay, so basically, I think I have 4 sources. Top 4 sources. Number
You
one,
only gotta do 3, Tina?
really, one I can consider one of them. So number 1, open house.
Okay.
Okay, that's how I started. So when I started 2018 and 2019, almost every weekend I would do open house. And that time I would do with another girl that started with me at the same time. And open house is so important. So try to, with open house, what you want to do is your mentality should be trying to get appointments rather than get leads. Because if you get leads, you have to follow up. A lot of follow-up to do in order to transact. Okay, but if you have the mentality of getting appointments on there, right? So then most likely you'll transact with that client. So with my open house, like one time, another thing, always fill with a partner. So and then know your inventory around your open house. So one time what I did is I actually took the client to show right away. Okay, that's how I got them.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll explain more. So
Okay.
so you said open houses.
Open house
and
is
then-
my number 1.
Mhm.
My second one is sphere of influence. So I have to say I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive husband that very supports of what I'm doing. And then he is in the construction business. So he has a lot of good clients that he takes care of. And then all these clients would, trust him, and then everything. If they need something, they will go to him. So my husband brings me a lot of clients. Okay, so sphere of influence. Number 3 is referral from the previous clients. Okay, so you gotta provide service in order for them to refer more business to you.
So you said for yours, it's open house, sphere of influence, and referrals. Okay,
And
great.
then
And then what we'll do is we'll
Okay.
just go down the road for everyone to give their top 3.
okay, got it.
Thank you. And Mercedes?
Hi everyone, Mercedes Arahan here, aka $1 Million Mercedes.
Woo woo.
I have been licensed since 2013. However, I didn't get into full-time real estate until June of 2019. And I hit the ground running after that. I'm also part of the Keller Williams Luxury Division, as well as Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment Division. My top 3 resources for my business. Number 1, sphere of influence, which is your family and your friends. Number 2 would be agent to agent referrals. So I'll dive deep into that in a little bit. And 3rd would be social media.
I love that. All right, and we move on to Mr. Coach Kevin.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good to see everybody here. My name is Kevin George, and I've been agent since 2005. I came from the edge. I'm a teacher by trade, and I retired in 2012. And I went full-time in real estate in 2015. And my 3 sources of business, number 1 is SOI. So my sphere of influence, I get probably 90% of my business from my sphere of influence. My past clients, they send me business as well. I don't really have a third, to be honest, but that's where the source of my business comes from, building relationships. When I started, I hit the phones, I knocked doors, I did everything that I had to do to get clients. And that's the resolve that you have to have as a new agent. If you don't have that resolve, you're going to weasel out of doing the responsible things that an agent needs to do on a daily basis. You're going to justify your behavior. And your behavior, if it's negative, what do you think you're going to get in return? You're gonna get negative. It's like the computer term, GIGO, what is that?
Garbage in, garbage out.
Garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you put into your business is what you're going to get out of your business.
And you obviously you can tell why we call him Coach Kevin, right? Yes. So like you mentioned, so yours is sphere of influence and past client referrals. Awesome. And then we move on to Mr. Thomas Ryan, Mr. Social Media.
Hello. I have the new name. Thanks. Hi, my name is Thomas Ryan. I've been in business. Well, let's see, I need to do my continuing education for March. So what is that? Every 4 years. So about 12 years now. So got into business as an assistant, kind of office manager situation for a small independent. And then just kind of slowly worked my way up into partnership. And then kind of since I've been in Chino Hills, it's just been kind of independent. My three sources of business are typically my farm. So I have a farm. We can get into that a little bit later, but my farm. And then it's probably three that are kind of coupled into one group, but basically my sphere of influence, past clients, but I encase those in with social because the way that I incorporate them back into my business is through social, you know, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, things like that, and keep them in contact or pull them into my sphere, essentially my social sphere. So those are my three sources.
I love that. So when you guys were hearing, what's one thing that you're in common in terms of these top agents sharing their source of business? Their influence, absolutely. So Tina, let's start with you in terms of your sphere of influence. Like, what does that look like? And well, you know, you kind of mentioned the fact that your husband helps with drawing people to you, but in terms of like how do you communicate with your sphere of influence?
How do I communicate? So basically I would try to touch bases with them once a while, you know.
So let's once a while. So let's put like a time on that, like once a
Depending
while.
on
Like,
the sphere of influence, if they are like a part of sphere of influence, I would try to go visit them or call them like once a month. Okay. And you know, always come from a caring side instead of a salesy side. You know, don't make your sphere of influence feel like you're trying to sell them something. Make them feel like, you know, you're caring for them. You want to take care of them in any way that you can. So that way you build your trust with them. So trust is very important in real estate. You know, in order for a client to give you one of their biggest investment, you have to have that trust in between. Otherwise, it's hard for them to, you know, trust you, then they're not going to transact with you. So that's, you know, a lot of conversation. Conversation leads to relationship. So you just got to call them, visit them, care for them. You know, don't always call them and say, hey, are you selling? Are you buying? Always come from the caring side. And very importantly, be likable. People only transact with people who they like.
yeah, I like that. And Mercedes, what would you say in terms of like how do you reach out to your sphere of influence?
My husband and I are really big on events. And so the last event that we did, we raffled off tickets to a Lakers game. We bought out a suite. And so that was fun for them. We did an online drawing with a digital spin wheel. And so it brought everyone together, as well as you're rewarding them for trusting you with one of their largest assets, as well as social media. Usually once I close a transaction, I will add my clients on my social media. As long as they feel like they're a part of your life and you're including them in your personal life, you continue on with that relationship, as well as a quarterly touch. So every 3 months, you should be reaching out to your clients, whether it's a call, a text, sending a gift, like Tia said, maybe, you know, dropping by. And on top of that, with the social media too, if you're comfortable with that, adding your clients on, you start to develop that constant mind share equals market share. So the more often they see you posting, talking about real estate, educating on real estate, you stay top of mind. So when anybody is around them that wants to buy, sell, or invest, now you went from SOI to a referral business.
I love that. And then how many of you guys, when you guys close the deal, you add your clients to your social media?
If it went well, right?
But I mean, that's real. That's a good question. Because I know me, like I forget about that stuff. After I, give them keys, congratulations, I keep in touch with them, but I forget about adding them to my Facebook and my Instagram and things like that. And I'm sure a lot of you guys probably do the same thing too, right? Like once you build a transaction, you keep in touch with them, but you don't think, oh, well, maybe I don't know them that closely to add them on my social media, but that's a great point because once we work with a person, chances are you get to know them personally. Know about their family situation, all that kind of stuff. So definitely, that's a great nugget. So definitely, guys, when you guys are closing deals, if it's successful, right, definitely make sure to add them to your Facebook, Instagram. So thank you for sharing that, Mercedes.
And if you do keep it separate, maybe it's a life page that, they're on, or if you want to keep your personal life personal, just think about it though, having maybe a business page, a personal page, just that way you can continue to engage your social media flow. Sorry, Thomas.
No, that's so true. Like just the other day, I got a message on LinkedIn from a client I sold like 4 or 5 years ago. And I didn't even know she had social media. I don't remember adding her on LinkedIn, to be honest. And she just reached out, said, hey, like, thanks for the Christmas card, this and that. And but like we added somehow afterwards, and it was just like a cool connection that I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, I love that. And then Kevin, so in terms of your social media, what does that look like in terms of you communicating with them?
They get an email every week. So everybody's on a listing alert. All of my past clients are on a listing alert. Everybody who I meet gets on a listing alert. So if I have their name, their email, and their address, they're getting a listing alert about what's going on in their neighborhood. And then what I do is I get an alert every time they go on and look at a house, I get an alert. So that gives me a reason to call them and say, hey, what are your plans for real estate this year? And they go, now that you mention it, my wife and I were thinking. So just keeping in contact, with them via email, via phone call, social media. Everybody who I've done business with is part of my social media. Anytime that you could have a chance to like on Facebook or Instagram, just participate in that. And then that'll show them that, oh, they're looking at my email. They're looking at my social media on Facebook or looking at my social media on Instagram. So Gary Keller says this in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. He says, build a database and feed it every day. What does that look like? Feeding it every day. That means every day when you come into your office, you need to go into your data bank and feed it. For an example, if you call a client and they say, oh, my son's birthday is today. What information did they just give you? Their son's birthday. You make a note of that. And then you mail the son a birthday card. Now you got this son's birthday. You might not have their birthday. And they might say, I'm celebrating my birthday today. So the key factor is this. How many of these do you have? 2. You got 2 of these, right? How many of these do you have? 1. Which one should we use the most? We always doing this, right? Never listening to what their needs are. If we use more of this and less of this, now we can gather information. And now we're building that database. And now we can really, really show that we care. Because we got birthdays, anniversaries, we got house anniversaries, we got all that information going into our database. And that gives us a reason to stay in contact every day. Every day. Don't miss a day as far as your database goes, because as Gary Keller says, that's your business. Your database is your business. That gives you a reason to call them and stay in contact.
That also ties into what I brought up about social media. What's the quickest way to know what's going on in someone's life? Kid's birthday? Sometimes, most parents post pictures of their children. So I'll take that picture down, like save it. I'll send them out an AM card, which is a digital card with that birthday or that picture, happy birthday to their child, and mail it out to them. Boom, bop, bam. I mean, it's really that easy. I just got married. I mean, you can keep up to date so easily through social media when you add them to your network.
They're telling you what they're doing in their lives.
Pretty much, yeah. Literally daily.
Yeah, but if we're doing this, if we're just going on social media for the sake of entertainment, then we'll miss it. But if we go on there for the sake of, I want to know more about my client, And they're telling me what they're doing in their lives, their travel, their celebrations, their birthdays, everything. They're just posting it for us. But we just think it's an entertainment tool, right? No, it's an information gathering tool. That's what social media is.
I like that. So Thomas, when it comes to, obviously, we went through sphere of influence and also got into social media. I know that's part of your business. So how do you communicate with your sphere of influence?
Yeah, so like I said, I kind of couple them together because my sphere is both just my social sphere, but I mean like my social media sphere. So yeah, so I'm not as proactive maybe about things as far as contacting my sphere, past clients, things like that. But I'm more passive about it. But with that said, like I'm relentless about the consistency of it. So, you know, yeah, I may not be giving you a call and getting the fine details of what your real estate needs are this year, but my clients know that I'm there. They know who I am, or not even my clients, just people know who I am, what I do, based upon kind of what I put in front of them every day. But on top of that, past clients, that's kind of a sphere thing as well. But you know, I do holiday gifts every year. I could usually pick 3 or 4 holidays throughout the year, do a drop on their front doorstep or a mail out to them, monthly postcards. Just I started doing this a couple of years ago. It's just a monthly postcard, and it was more so just about like life and just kind of like perspective on what's going on in my life and what's going on in the world, and just kind of sharing that with people on a monthly basis, my like top clients, and then email consistently as well. But really it's about just kind of being top of mind from a kind of more laid back approach from my perspective, but I'm definitely in front of them.
Yeah, I like that. So, because that's kind of how I think what you're saying is the fact that you're doing a lot and you're consistent, and then your whole audience gets to see what you're doing, as opposed to just picking out certain people. You're pretty much just blasting it to everyone in terms of like your consistency and also providing value on a regular basis.
Yeah, I have different groups for sure that get different things.
Right.
I call it top 100 is this group that I have. I call my top 100. They're past clients who I've done one or multiple transactions with, and they're the ones that are getting the gifts. They're the ones that are getting the monthly postcards and a little more specific information. And then everything else is broadly broadcasted, for sure. Yeah.
I like that. So next I'm gonna move to Tina. You mentioned open houses, right? So let's talk a little more about that.
Okay, so open house, again, like I said, your mentality when you go into an open house should be getting appointments rather than getting leads. Because, you know, you can have like a great conversation during the open house with one lead, but once they leave the house, you call them, they don't respond back to you. I get that a lot. So, you know, be prepared. How to be prepared is that you have to know your inventory around your open house, around the same characteristic as the house that you open, like this, around the same square footage, around the same bedroom account. So that way, when the buyer comes in, they don't like your open house, tell them, hey, you know what, I have another one that is, you know, such a good price, negotiable and stuff like that, you know, to attract them. And then tell them, hey, do you have time today? I can show you the house. That's how you can capture the leads.
And is that why you do open houses with another person?
Yeah, you always want to do with another agent, because that that's say if you want to show that client right away, you can do that so that the other agent can still be at the open house, right? And then also secondly, you have to host with another agent because for your safety. Don't ever open house by yourself. It's very dangerous because anyone, any stranger, any people can come into the warehouse. I mean, the open house. It's open to the public. So you don't know who they are, what's their intention trying to do. So, you know, there's all type of people out there that you never know. So you always want to be prepared, you know, to be, safety is number one important. You have to know, you have to know your other way out. Okay, that's important. And then also, I think door knocking before your open house is also very helpful because you know, there could be sellers around the area that wanting to sell too. And if you do your job, you do door knocking and then you're trying to, push your open house, push your product, they know that you are working hard. They know that you are an agent that just don't get listing and, let the house sell by itself. So, they would probably want to, hire you as their listing agent. So door knocking is very important.
Yeah, I like that.
It's-
Yeah, absolutely. And Mercedes, you mentioned something that I haven't heard a lot of agents talk about, agent referrals. So talk to us more about that.
I know you're probably thinking like, what, other agents give you business? And yes, I mean, there's some agents who, even in California, are very hyper local. I have agents in Los Angeles that will refer me business because they don't want to come to Orange County. They dread coming to the Inland Empire. So I'm like, give it to me all day. And how I've established that business with Keller Williams, we have a lot of education platforms. One of the biggest ones is BOLD, which is Business Objective Life by Design. I've taken it 8 times now. And how I've built my agent to agent referral business through that is I don't take it where I reside. I've taken it in different cities, and then during COVID with online training, I've taken it with agents out of different states. Also, Keller Williams has a young professionals division. I became president for the one in Orange County. And so the more events that I threw that are educational based, giving value to other agents as well is how I've established that agent to agent referral. So again, mind share equals market share. The more other agents see me, the more that they see I'm giving value. I don't have scarcity mindset. There's enough business for all of us. So if I'm growing, I want you to grow too. And that's how I've really developed that agent to agent referral business.
So Mercedes, what does that look like in terms of your agent to agent business?
In what sense?
In terms of like, I don't know, like dollars, like what are you doing with the agent to agent business? Like,
Well, 40% of my business is agent to agent referrals. I mean, that's huge. It's a big chunk of my business. I know here we mentioned either tips and tricks to earn 6 figures or more. 40% of my business, that will get you there. And so it's not for everyone.
So let me stop there. So 40% of your business from agent to agent referrals then you over six figures just off of the agent to agent referrals.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. What's that?
And again, it's not for everyone. However, it is a tool and a resource that does work. As long as you take out that scarcity mindset, I don't want to rub shoulders with other agents. I mean, you have the opportunities even here in California because agents are hyper local. So think about that. Start going to events in different counties and different cities, networking, connecting, building those relationships. Hey, I cover X, Y, Z. What areas do you cover? Let's trade business. Let's trade referral.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Can I touch on something you said there real quick? You said it's not for everyone, right?
Yes.
We're talking about a lot of different things, a lot of ways of going about things, and everything, all of these tactics are not for everyone.
Right.
I don't think I've ever made a cold call in my life, ever. It's not for me. I do 1,500 door hangers every month, every single month.
You know,
That's
I
not
think
for a
about it
lot
as
of
my
people.
feet when you say that.
Exactly. That's not for a lot of people. There's a lot of tactics. You have to find what you can do and do it consistently, and that's where you'll make the breakthrough. You can't try and do something that's not for you, and because you're not going to continue to do it. But if you can find what's right for you, then you can continue to do it. That's where it happens.
That's the golden nugget. And Gary Keller does say, pick your top 3 resources of lead generation. We're all sharing what works for us. You need to fine tune your top 3 and stick to it.
Yeah, I love that. And the thing, that's what I love about our business is the fact that there's multiple ways for you to be successful. And there's a way for you to pick different areas of your business where you can actually enjoy it. You know what I mean? Whether you enjoy going to and dropping off 1,500 door knockers a month, you know what I mean? Or you enjoy getting into your database and making your contacts, or you enjoy going to different events, right? Or you enjoy doing open houses. That's one of the things I love about our business. There's multiple ways to be successful. And that's why I chose these 4, because I identified with all of them in terms of their different ways of them, growing their business. So yes. So Kevin, so the second one you mentioned is like referrals, right? So how do you go by that?
My clients, I keep in contact with my past clients and they just refer me to their kids, their friends. I just get calls, from referrals. And they're probably the easiest transactions you'll ever do because I like what Tina said, When you call them, or when they call you, you come from contribution. So coming from contribution says, I'm not trying to get something from you, I'm trying to offer you something. So instead of saying, you know, give me a lead, or do you want to sell your home? You know, the last thing you should say in a conversation is, you know, before I let you go, is there anything I can do for you today? And then just be quiet. And let them just say, well, now that you mention it, you know, I just paid my house off and I need to reconvey it. Oh, you do? Oh, we can handle that. You guys ever had that experience where your client pays a house off and they don't know what to do after that? So after the deal is closed, you think your job is done? No, you have to service that client. You know, let them know, you know, about Prop 60 and Prop 90, if they sell a house or over 55. You know, you're sending them valuable information, not just sending them a freaking calendar. Who needs a calendar? You know,
You got one on your phone,
you
don't
got
you?
one right here, the calendars all over the place. What are you sending them, or what information are you giving them of value? Value.
You mean you don't want my face on your fridge?
No. I want value. You know, this guy, one of my friends, I went to elementary school with him, and he called me and said, hey, my mom just paid her house off. Oh, was it reconveyed? What does that mean, Kevin? I'm glad you asked. Well, yeah, can you check into it and see if it's been reconveyed? Oh, yeah, give me the address. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm serving. I'm serving. Oh, man, I made my commission. Just churn and burn, right? Churn and burn. Don't do that. Your job starts when that sale is closed. That's when your job starts. Not when it's finished. That's when it starts. So I get business like that from my referrals. Past clients who I've done business with, and then, you know, just going online, probably about maybe 100 people a day, I'm averaging go on my website. And all of them are people that I know. Now I generate outside business from, you know, if they share that, you know, somebody else comes on, you know, just organically. But they get something from me every week. And so that gives me a reason to stay in contact. You know, so that's how I generate. Or stay in contact.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that you mentioned that your job starts, you know, when you actually sell the house, that's when your true job starts. And I love that, because I think a lot of us unfortunately have that mentality where it's like, well, that's great, okay, we're done, on to the next one, as opposed to, I'm your realtor for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as cheesy as that sounds, you've probably seen a bunch of slogans, this is the truth, right? You want to be the realtor for life, right? Because we know people go through natural transitions, whether they are starting new families, so they need to move up, or maybe they are empty nesters, they're downsizing. You want to be that realtor for life, to be at every stage of their life. So thank you for sharing. Now, Mr. Thomas, I want to talk about farming, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about farming.
Hey,
What shoes do you wear?
Those are pretty comfortable.
Yeah, no, all right, let's go back a little bit. I started farming when like I said, I kind of grew up into the business as an assistant. And that's when I was just hooking door hangers all over the place out in Irvine, right? And that was just kind of the basis of my mentor at the time. That's the basis of her business. And I just rolled with that. So in my farm, I started my farm in the community that I live in, 300 homes, started that for a few years and just started to expand, right? It started to get some business from it and started to expand. I'm like, hey, I can do more than 300. Let's continue. And ultimately, like I said, got up to about 1,500 homes. So basically my goal is just to be in front of them every single month, whether that's on a door hanger, a postcard. I started out with door hangers because they were cheaper, right? I put in some sweat equity into it, right? So, you know, you can get out there and do some door hangers very, very cheaply as opposed to postage, and all that's gone up over time too. So, and I've continued to do it because I know you're going to say leverage your time, you know, have someone, you know, pay someone to go out there and do it for you. But I've had numerous people, sellers, reach out to me directly because they said, hey, we saw you out there doing it. We saw you in the community. We saw, you know, the effort that you're putting into doing that type of thing, we want you, to sell our house because we're gonna work hard. So
So is that door knocking? I've never personally farmed. So are you knocking, waiting for them and then having conversation, hanging door hangers?
never knocked on a door.
Oh, so you're just,
Time out. Wait a second. Go back again. So, okay, so you're farming, you said you've never knocked on a door.
Never knocked on a door. Like I said,
Okay.
my approach in everything is just what can I do consistently that I'm gonna feel comfortable with, that I'm gonna do, right? And okay, that may be a ridiculous statement. I've probably knocked on a couple doors back in the day, but the experience just did not fit me. So I just said, hey, I'm just gonna take this kind of passive but helpful approach, giving some value, which is the goal every time, is to provide some type of value in the information, whether it's a market update or something about the community or just something of value, right? Rather than just throwing my face on their front door. So it's really just being in front of, I've been in front of the same doors for about 10 years now.
Okay.
Consistently. So the way I look at it is, I knew I was gonna do that going in. Knew I was gonna do it over a long period of time. If I'm knocking on your door every month for 10 years, it's gonna get a little too much, right? But so I know how I feel when people knock on my door. Again, it works for sure for the right people. It's just the way I feel about things. So yeah, so I just told myself I would be consistently in front of your door on a consistent basis, and that's kind of what I've rolled with. And that's the feedback that I've gotten from, the people in my neighborhood. And I don't even have to knock on the door anymore because they know who I am. They see me walking down the street and they wave. Like who sees someone walking down the street in their neighborhood and waves with a smile? Usually are like, what's this guy doing? You know what I mean? So they know what I'm there for, they know who I am and things like that. They'll joke like, oh, it's freezing today or whatever. I integrated electric bike into my farming as well. So I have this electric bike and I have 2 panels on each side of it with my marketing. It has my full, it's like a for sale sign essentially on the side of each of them. So I take that throughout the community when I do door hangers and just park it up against a stop sign or something like that. So it's kind of like a moving billboard that I have as well. But yeah, numerous listings over the years. The only agent within my farm who's sold multiple homes every year. So it kind of speaks to that for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. And the things like you said, your big thing is about being consistent. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, is just being consistent. And I can definitely see, if you're door knocking, you'd probably be, because for instance, those 1,500 homes you hit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, would be kind of hard to do that.
It's impossible to you go door knocking, how many homes can you hit in 2 hours, 2.5 hours? 50? I don't know. I don't even know. In an hour and a half, I can hit 200 to 250 homes, right? So now the level of connection may not be as much, but 250 homes over a long period of time, I feel has, for me at least, again, has that impact for sure.
Yeah. So would you do any other activities in your farm?
Yeah, I do. I've done a 12-year run of a holiday food drive that I do every year. So I'll deliver a flyer with a bag to every house and then allow them to contribute to a local food bank. So then I go and pick it up from them. Oftentimes I'll have a thank you card with a little pen or something simple in it. And then I host a community garage sale in the farm as well. I want to integrate a ice cream social this year. So basically just kind of at the community park, just have everybody come down, give away free ice cream.
I'm RSVPing for that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be there for sure. I love ice
cream. So yeah, just kind of out there trying to be in the community. But those are kind of my 2 anchor events every year for sure.
I love that because obviously the majority of the time you're doing your door and you're doing 1,500 a month, but then you're doing those community events. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where it causes you to interact with people. You know what I mean? So I like that. That's the other side. Yeah,
I get that face-to-face interaction for sure. And sometimes it's a completely different, it's a different dynamic or a different demographic, right? There's certain people who are at home all the time in their front yard, and I run into those people all the time. So I do have those interactions, but they're more natural for me. It's hey, what's going on? like right now, I'm doing one right now. It's just like new year, new home, like, you know, what can I help you with? And I'm just asking people their resolutions, you know? And that's kind of my topic of conversation. So yeah, I'm getting that face-to-face interactions, and it's a different demographic. Like I said, some people are home all the time, they're out, and some people go to work every day, don't ever see me, walk in the neighborhood, they see it on their front door when they get home.
Right.
But then they're the ones that are having a garage sale on the weekend or whatever, you know, so it's a different way to touch them, for sure.
Yeah, I like that.
I just want to add one thing to that,
Absolutely.
because I've done a couple of open houses for with Tom, or helping him out with that, and it's one thing, even though he's passive, I think what's cool about that is it's built like a natural relationship. Because when I've done open houses for him, people will come by just to say hi to Thomas, and they're like, oh, he's not here today. I'm like, yeah, I'm helping him out. And he's like, oh, yeah, Thomas is great. So they come by just to see you. And then even when we've like, I think we were setting up signs or filming, like the people in the neighborhood will just come just to talk to him, just because you established yourself over this time period. So I think that's really cool to see that.
I appreciate you, yeah, recognizing that for sure, yeah, because I like the same people kind of come into open, they're not a looky-loo type thing. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's a certain level of that, but yeah, it's more just kind of like, hey, like, what's going on? And they'll ask questions about the market. They might not sell for 4 years, and I'm cool, I'm there when they're ready, but they're just kind of interested in the market, what's going on in the community, a little bit of looky-loo nature, but yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, and I love that. I think when it comes to farming, it's really about planting your roots, right? Or, you know, planting
That's what
seeds
called
and then
farming,
you go.
right?
Exactly.
It's literally why it's called farming.
Absolutely, and you establish yourself as the expert.
It's time.
Yes, absolutely. Anything else you want to share about farming?
A little bit, yeah. So like I said, I kind of, there's this bubble around everything, because when I'm farming, I always like post about it. Like I'll do a story or a picture or whatever of the piece or what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. I'll share this on Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be, YouTube. So what I'm doing there is obviously the people that aren't viewing this story on Instagram or whatever, they don't care about this specific neighborhood in this small pocket of Chino that I'm marketing to or sharing information with. But what they are seeing, again, passively, is that I'm out there working, I'm active in the community, I'm providing information. So whether they may or may not care about that, it's just another piece of content that they're seeing that I'm active and kind of out there. So educated and about the market. So I integrate that into my farming, and it kind of pulls in the two groups essentially. Just
Yeah, I love that, because like, oh,
Yeah.
do you have a question?
What's the competition with other realtors in your farming?
That's important for sure, because when I moved into my neighborhood, I observed and I saw like, okay, what's out there? And I saw, you know, a postcard and then nothing from anybody else for 3 months, and then like another postcard. So I didn't see much of it. So I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity. So that's for sure important. Certain communities are just very competitive,
So when you
right?
start to decide which area you're really gonna acquire, you
Yeah.
gotta figure out what to compete.
Yeah, it's important for sure. I mean, I'm sure the pros will tell you, like, look at a community that has like a high turnover rate, certain percentages and stuff like that. Again, I'll go back to the consistency over time, right? Is this a community that you enjoy? Is it a community that you can consistently get to and get in front of? Like, oh, I could find a community in South Corona that has an amazing conversion ratio, but am I there that often? Will I get down there that often? Maybe not. So maybe that's not the best community just because of the conversion ratio. So I think it's for sure important to see kind of who's in the community. Maybe if you know someone, what I've heard, if you know someone in the community that lives there, ask them to just pull every piece of real estate material that they get on their front door and in their mailbox over the course of a couple months. See kind of what's out there. You see any consistency? If not, like maybe it's something to infiltrate. And then you have that anchor as well, that homeowner in the neighborhood. Maybe you sold that home for them and it was 3 years ago, but use that as an anchor to say, hey, like, yeah, I sold that home. That can be a point of conversation. And it can be a point of like, just like people know those people and you know those people, and just that connection. So that's kind of an anchor as well.
Okay, also as a solo agent, how big is the community you think we can cover?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, I started in a community that's 300 homes. And I think that's like perfect. I really do think that's perfect. I mean, you could even door knock that in a reasonable amount of time if you wanted, but I think that was the perfect amount. I was able to like really get in there and like infiltrate over the course of time. And then obviously it's an expense too. I mean, mailing to 300 homes is a lot different than mailing to 1,500 homes, you know? And you can look at every door direct mail, which is a lower cost mailing service. So depending upon that as well, but I think around the 300 home mark is a good,
Start.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
I think knowing that neighborhood is very important. When I first got my license, I was super eager, you know. The veterans would tell you, you have to door knock, you have to do this way. So I drove to Dana Point. I was like, I'm gonna be
Wait,
electric.
hello.
Why? Because it's me. Drove to Dana Point, this gated community. So I pull up and they're like, can I help you? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I have a family member who wants to move in this area and he's a professional athlete. Okay, what's lying about the professional athlete side? Kind of fibbed a little bit on the neighborhood side. And he's like, oh, do you have an appointment? I said, no, but I'm a realtor. And I pull out not my business card, my real estate license card.
That's more efficient.
And so let me in, I parked my car, didn't have shoes, didn't have anything to hand out. I just was like, let me try this. So I started knocking on doors. One guy's like, oh, he opens the door and he's like, I was like, oh, you know, wondering if, you know, anybody in the area that's thinking of, you know, possibly selling. I have someone that may want to move in this neighborhood. He's like, is it? I forgot her name, but this is Barbara's neighborhood. I literally got back in the car and left. I mean, he was adamant about this is Barbara's car. And then I saw one other person like jogging and I was kind of like, oh, I was wondering, and he's like, I'm so busy, I'm headed out to the, and I was like, all right, this farming door knocking might not be. And yet that's a key point. I mean, this person was speaking for Barbara, that she owned that neighborhood, that was her farm. If you're going to do it, you want to have that Thomas mentality of this is my farm, my neighborhood, and I own it, because your people will stand up for you.
Yeah,
For sure.
Even if an agent is in the neighborhood and has done a ton of business in it, if you really get after it, they're not going to be getting out. They're going to get comfortable. Yeah, they'll send out their postcard monthly, the same thing, the same listing, but you can provide like kind of a new insight and like actually being in the community immersed and actually get after it. You can take over.
So Tom, did you say that consistency is the key?
Always. Consistency is like my middle name. Like
Mhm.
that's just on everything for sure.
So that trumps everything as far as farming goes. If you just stay consistent at what you're doing.
I think so. It's gonna take time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's certainly gonna take time, especially right now. Like the inventory levels are low and not a lot of people are putting their home on the market. But when they do, you want to be there. I remember my first listing in my farm. Yeah, I'd gone like 3 months of doing some farming and not seeing anything, and then all of a sudden a home comes on the market and it just like hit me. Oh man, it hit me so hard. So I went straight from, I was working in Irvine at the time, my office in Irvine. Went straight to my community and just started doing door hangers. 7 homes in, this guy's working on his motorcycle, this casual conversation. Oh yeah, I'm gonna sell boom, 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 first listing ever in the
Nice.
But it was like over time, and then it just like that relentlessness to be like, no, like that person can't get a listing. Like I put in the work. Exactly. So, and speaking of that relationship that starts, right?
Mhm.
I've done like 5 or 6 deals with that guy
Nice.
Oh, wow.
over the past 8 years.
Yeah, that's
You
really.
know what I mean? It's like he's just sold, bought, and it's that start of that relationship. It's worth that. I hate the word lead, but that client, that customer, that buyer or seller is worth so much more than just that
Mhm.
2 to 3% on that specific transaction. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like that. And then also going back to the things, like you said, in terms of the farm rates, right? With the whole turnover ratio and all that, those things. I love the fact that you say that you don't look at that. All you're focused on is just, can I be consistent in this neighborhood? You know what I mean? Like Big Dar Mercedes, you know what? If you were consistent in Dana Point, I'm sure you would have taken over farm. Don't you guys agree? Right? Right? Dana Point would have been hers.
That's like 82 years old.
Yes, but I mean, I just love it. I mean, I think you can tie consistency to everything that you guys are doing, right? I mean, whether it's farming, social media, reaching out to your sphere of influence, getting referrals, it all comes back down to consistency. You know what I mean? It really all comes down to consistency. So this is the time where I want you guys to ask me questions that you guys have, because again, I want this to be a open dialogue, right? I want you guys to be able to ask the questions that you have with these amazing top agents. So ask questions away. So let's go.
Oh, doesn't matter.
All right,
Yeah.
so I have first question, on Mercedes. Okay, what was the key to find a new listing?
What's the key to finding a new listing?
Yes.
Well, that's a really great question. Again, my business is really based on relationship. And so the more that you touch with people, the more consistent you are, mind share equals market share. So I'm gonna continue to say that over and over again. When you're talking to your friends and family, when you're posting on social media, you need to become top of mind. Because the quicker that you are before the trigger's pulled, meaning you don't want to get to them when they've already talked to other agents about listing their home. You want to be top of mind when you're calling to say, hey, I saw John just got, drafted to, I don't know, this state or this country to go play. Oh, Mercedes, you know what? I'm about to be an empty nester. I need to sell my house. Now you have your first listing.
Great, yeah,
I trust that helps.
Can I pick it back up?
yeah.
Okay, so when you have your first listing,
Oh, I'm sorry, did I take that the wrong way? Like, what do you do or how big is it?
No,
how do you get first listing? Yeah, so when you get that first listing, make sure you leverage that first listing. Because from your listing, you can get more listing. And how do you leverage? You have to be very responsible on what you post on their MOS, number one, because, that's crucial, right? And then number two, you can do, door knockings, like around your listing, like, just list it.
Yeah.
And then once it's in escrow, go around the same neighbors again in escrow. And then when it's, close.
Yeah.
Go around the same doors and say close, just close, right?
Okay.
So these people, these neighbors that they see you working really hard for your listing.
Yeah.
And if they are thinking of selling, they might want to hire you because they see you working really hard. So leverage your listing is very important. Don't just get a listing and then close, get your commission and then forget about it. Try to be creative and work around your listing. That's how you get your second listing.
I want to piggyback to that. And kind of a few parts here, and I'm glad Rashawn is here. I had a high-end listing that came through a referral from someone on social media. I've never met this lady in person. However, she added me on Facebook. She's consistently saw me. And she said, hey, one of my best friends needs to sell her home. It was a luxury listing in Hollywood.
Wow.
I reached out to the lady. She had a lot going on with family. I followed up with her for 2 years straight. I didn't get a response. The moment she was ready to work with me, picked up the phone, took the listing, and I asked Rashawn to help me out with open houses, because some of you may not know, but I do have a toddler at home. And so it's not always the easiest for me to be directly out in the field. So Rashawn held my house open, did a phenomenal job, went door knocking. You want to share the client that you got from doing that open house?
Which one,
From Hollywood,
uh,
Alma.
which, the ones that purchased are.
I mean, just so it's leading her to more business.
Right, so because of the area, I figured I would canvas as much as I could, so I think I did like 250, 300. Flyers in the neighborhood, I had signs posted maybe 2 days prior. So my nickname is Sunshine, so on my sign says Vershawn Sunshine Mobley. So they're like, well, who the heck is Sunshine? I got a singer, songwriter. She called and she was like, oh my God, your name, blah, blah, blah. My parents are gonna help me. Is the house still being held open today? And we had already finished. So I got her information And then from being in the area, I actually ran into a girl named Atia Bob. She just wrote music and composed for Beyonce. And like did a lease at a penthouse that I helped her with. And because she's so busy, she kind of stopped over there on her own, right? And of course, the agent there helped her. And I mean, I could have pulled the card and been like, I want my money, right? But to me, the business was more about what she wants to do in the future because she's going through a divorce. She wants to purchase. So I told the guy, look here, go ahead, have the commission. I don't really care about that. I just want to service my client. So I actually did all the financials. She trusted me with all of her business, bank accounts, social, like everything. And she's like my friend, and she's like inviting me to all these celebrity parties with J-Lo and Justin Bieber or whoever. But that was just for me being really persistent in the area. And like Mercedes, I think you put it on social media. Like,
Yeah, I did.
and she said, and I was like, really, what am I gonna do? And I did advertise on Instagram and my Facebook. I did ads. And I think we had, was it 16 or 17 people for the weekend? And one of the people that came to the open houses who purchased the home. And he was some big producer.
But look at how that trickled. Social media, okay? I had her mind share when her friend said, hey, I need help selling my investment property in California. Oh, I know this girl that's always on my Facebook, Mercedes. We were connected. 2, my follow-up game was real. 2 years, calls, text. And then I did my presentation, took the listing. My scarcity mindset doesn't exist. I allowed Rashawn to now grow from opening or holding that house open. I won, she won, at the end of the day, the client won the biggest because she got what she needed was to sell that house, net the most money. And now her and I are now business partners and Rashawn's part of our team as well. So it's exciting. And I just want you to share, just to have that in your mindset, to just stay consistent, continue to follow up and leverage each other. The more that we work together, I promise you we'll get more business done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I agree.
That was a big sound.
Now, mind you, just for those of you that don't know, he sold me a house.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Not an agent at the time.
Oh, yeah. Right. My agent to agent referral business, I got a call from an agent in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Who said, hey, I have a buyer, do you service this area? She's already pre-approved. I was like, yes, I service that area, and even yes, because she's already approved, done. And so we met, we clicked right away, helped her purchase her home. And she, in the interim, she was talking about, oh, I'm working on my real estate license. And I feel like I have to start over. She was coming from a different state. And I said, well, if you finished all your prerequisite, I'm pretty sure that all you have to do is take your test. And so I connected her with our management within the office, and turned out all she did was need to take the test. And so just coming from contribution as her realtor, like, I'm like, hey, you took all this education, how can I help you win? And here we are, fast forward.
Yeah,
So,
really. So I haven't quit. That was August, September.
yes.
And then I was motivated because she had the baby with her. And I'm like, if she's selling houses with a baby, like, what is stopping me? Because the baby she works for Keller Williams.
She does. I need to put her on payroll.
She does. So, yeah, and that was because I was gonna move to Atlanta. I changed my mind. And then the lady returned. That's like weird. Like, oh, thank you for changing my life.
Love that,
Thank you.
love that. And James, you had a question? And I'll go to you.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask on the open houses, like, I love that setting the appointment, but how, like, what are some practical ways to do that? Cause I've noticed, depending on the open house, but I've noticed a shift recently where I'm seeing like a lot of maybe looky losers, people coming in and they maybe are interested in it, but they have like, they're first time home buyers and they haven't even met with lender or anything. So, they're a little hesitant to really make that commitment of, meeting with the lender or, taking a further step.
So basically, as the buyer comes in, you have to screen them first, right? You have to ask them 2 questions to know that they are interested. And then most importantly, they're not coming with an agent, right? So, and then from there, from the conversation, you can kind of find out, kind of screen through, like, are they interested? Are they serious? Right? Okay. That's how you do, yeah. But, I think the main thing is that you have to know your inventory around your open house, so that way you have something to talk about, to attract that buyer. And then try to take them on that day as possible, because like I said, once they leave the house, it's hard to get them back again. It takes a lot of follow-ups. And sometimes a lot of follow-up even still don't get them. So I would say, while they are there, try to capture them while they are there.
Yeah, I agree with, just that I got an experience like that. The key is that, their motivations to do it. And once you get that, you understand more.
And also, I don't personally do open houses, however, when I've taken my clients to them, whether you're the listing agent or not, I think it's very important to even know about the house. I went over the weekend when it was raining and I saw some water swap. So I was asking the agent, hey, what's going on with the property? Do you know if there's been previous roof damage or whatnot? And they just stood there like blank stare. Oh, I'm actually not the listing agent. You do not want that to happen, because what if it is another potential buyer for you or someone who needs to sell? You want to be on top of it, whether you know or not. Because that's a great question. Based on the weather, they may not be aware that it's an issue, but I'll find out and I'll get back to you. What's the best contact number? What's the best way to reach out to you and give you more information? So just something to think about as well.
I like that. And one last question, Mia?
Oh, I just want to share an experience when we talk about the farming and the dog knocking. So I mean, last year, one day, I just sold my listing and one guy just knocked on my door. And I knock on my neighborhood and say, he talked to me and say, hey, there was a listing we just sold in your neighborhood. I said, oh, which listing? Well, I don't know. In my neighborhood, why? I don't know. And then he handed me a postcard. I said, oh, that's my listing. So I was funny. I said, it's your listing? I said, yeah, it's my friend, my co-worker. I was, oh, you're Remax, but I'm in Keller Williams. Why? How do we're co-worker? So I was feel, oh, it's so funny, right? Then I just want to see when you guys face in this situation, how do you handle it? And then one day maybe we may face the same situation when we knock on the door, when we farming, or maybe just the other listing agent or other agent. So how do you?
Were you on the buyer side? And
I'm the listing agent, and he knocked on my door and said the listing was his.
Oh,
And, yeah.
wow. I don't know, maybe that's you were, I don't know.
Hey man, sell it, man.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do, right? Like, you could report it to board or something like that. I mean,
No.
that's not gonna happen.
Bring me a buyer. You got a buyer for me? That's what I would handle that.
I mean, I already sold. He said.
Yeah, I already sold. Yeah.
already
Cause all he's doing is he's working.
Yeah.
He's marketing, he's using your listing as leverage.
Which is great, as
Yeah.
long as he's divulging the information correctly.
Right.
Like, this home recently sold in your neighborhood. Not saying I listed and sold the home, but this home recently sold in your neighborhood. Here's the values, like. great
Yeah, that's
information.
it, but
That's perfect.
I don't think he should say, oh, this our.
Correct.
listing is-
100% that. No, I shouldn't say that. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, when you do those just sold door knocking, like Thomas was saying, just say, this home sold in this neighborhood, sold for this, right? You don't have to mention anything about I sold it, my team sold it. Don't do any of that stuff. Just say, hey, this
Yeah.
home sold for this in your neighborhood. Were you aware of it? All right.
Yeah, I mean, I do market updates all the time, like it'll have a list of every property that's pending, sold, whatever it may be. Consumers don't necessarily know, a lot of times they think you sold all those homes, now you're not gonna tell them that you did, but. If it's just, you're just providing the information, a lot of consumers think, oh, like you sold all of these homes in the neighborhood or whatever, so it can be a great tactic if you're honest about it, for sure.
And also when I did some knocking, that when I did one neighborhood, I found at least 10 or at least 10, maybe 15 or 20 agents in that neighborhood.
Yeah,
They
no,
told me,
it's,
oh, you know what, I'm an agent too, I'm a realtor in this neighborhood too.
Yeah,
So-
I know where all the agents live in my farm.
Do you skip that house?
Yeah.
It'll be right here.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I love that.
Although some of them like have done, like I know for sure have done no business in a really long time, but I know they were at some point. Some part of me is like, okay, maybe they're not even licensed anymore, and you know, maybe I should get. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I've contemplated for sure.
I love that. So did you guys find the cell phone? No, I can't hear you. Did you find the cell phone?
Yeah.
All right, let's give them. All right, and before we go, we're gonna introduce our sponsor today.
Sorry, I had surgery this morning. Like literally, I know, no, something in my leg.
Oh,
I'm just being, what is it called, catty about it, I suppose. It's still numb, so the pain hasn't really kicked in.
okay, so you don't feel anything.
Not yet, I'm just here, but I'm waiting, the ear, don't look at the ear, but. Keller Williams calls, I say yes all the time, because I just like this place a lot. My name is Lucia Camarillo. I am with First American NHD. And if possible, can you guys all pull out your phone? This is gonna be so helpful and it's gonna change the way you guys do some of your business. So I want you guys to go to our website, www.fanhd.com. We have introduced our tax calculator, and our tax calculator, you can go in and enter in any address in the state of California, and it will tell you the current homeowners' taxes, what they pay in property taxes, okay? Then we've taken it a step further. It will then tell you, if you enter in a sales price and the month that you're closing, it's going to tell you what the future homeowners' taxes are going to be for the year and what their supplemental tax bill looks like, okay? So if you look at your screen, it'll be on the top right-hand corner, you'll see 3 little lines, you click on that, it'll bring you the drop-down menu, select tax estimator, and then you guys will be able to do it any property, anywhere in the state of California. You're welcome.
What's the website again?
www.fa, so First American, NHD, so FA, NHD.
I love that. So you just get that information right up front, because I'm sure obviously a lot of buyers, when you're, showing them properties that they think about writing offers, they do ask those questions. But be able to answer them first. That's great. If I don't get a question, I see your face.
No.
Yes,
NHD?
FA,
Oh, that's.
so First American, so FA, and then the NHD for natural hazard disclosure. So we're always trying to find ways to improve the way you guys are doing business. We want information at your fingertips because it is crucial. I highly encourage you guys to have this website up and open at your open houses, because you're taking it a step further than most agents are, and you're giving that client value, which is what our industry has become. We have to be a source of value to our clients. Same way I'm a source of value to you.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for that great.
And lunch is served.
Yes.
Yes, it is
Thank you
great.
so much. Now, before I let you guys go, we got a raffle. So I definitely want to also thank Mo for helping getting this all organized, getting this all set up. So thank you for that. Also want to thank my coach, my friend, my business partner right there, Mr. Dodd, for putting together this great video and all that great stuff. And then also want to thank our great top agents here, great information, and all that good stuff. So I got a prize for you guys. We'll see you guys later. All right, so Mo, what's the first one?
811-4439.
All right,
Right.
Andres are there. Congratulations, Andres. All right. What does Andres win? Well, Andres wins a full month of social media coaching.
Wow.
Now, everything you need to know, what to say, what to do, what to wear, all that great stuff. All right, let's find the next winner.
811-4442.
Yes, Sean. Shanna, yes, so Shanna, you also win a full month's worth of social media coaching.
Wow.
From everything, what to say, what to do, what to wear, all that good stuff. So, yes, all right, let's give it up for our winner. I'm feeling such a giving spirit. I don't know, something just came all over me. So, because you guys took great time out of your day to provide great value to our agents, I'm personally gonna pay for each and every one of you for a full month of social media coaching.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, all about empowering people. I want to help you guys build your businesses so you guys can provide great lives for your family. So thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for providing value. And again, thank you guys for delivering to our agents. So go over there, eat, get cool, and all that good stuff. So thank you guys once again.